confirmation as to his defense and whether he will in fact be found not guilty.
What if the love story everyone admired was hiding a truth no one ever imagined? For decades, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer's 36-year marriage appeared unbreakable. Red carpet smiles, polished interviews, Hollywood's definition of forever. From the outside, everything looked secure, admired, and untouched by time. But behind the cameras and the glossy photographs, something quieter was taking shape. Tension, fear, and unspoken truths grew inside their home, unseen by anyone beyond its walls. What began as deep love slowly shifted into endurance, and that endurance would be tested in ways no one anticipated. When the real story of their family finally surfaced, it didn't just shock Hollywood, it forced people to question what they believed about love, loyalty, and the cost of silence. To the public, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer represented perfection. Every appearance reinforced the same image: calm, united, unshakable. People whispered that theirs was the real thing, and for a long time it seemed true. But perfection can hide pressure. Beneath the warmth of public smiles, strain was quietly building, nearly invisible, until it no longer was, especially inside their Brentwood home. Tension lived under the surface. Nights stretched long and heavy, filled with restless worry and arguments spoken softly enough that no one else could hear. The smiles didn't disappear. They hardened into resolve. Endurance became the goal, holding the family together, protecting appearances, surviving one more day. And at the center of that strain was their son, Nick. What began as small concerns slowly grew into larger challenges, and his struggles reshaped the household. The life that looked flawless from the outside began to fracture from within. This was never a story about fame or success. It was about love being tested in ways the world never saw behind closed doors. Rob and Michelle's love didn't vanish. It was challenged again and again, quietly and relentlessly. They stayed not because it was easy, but because leaving felt like tearing apart the fragile thread holding their family together. Their children were the anchor, the reason to keep going. Even when everything felt overwhelming, yet love alone couldn't dissolve the tension. The home that appeared calm and polished to outsiders became a place of silent battles. Words were whispered, fears buried beneath layers of secrecy. Nights carried weight. Every quiet moment was filled with questions left unanswered and truths left unspoken, each one pressing heavier than the last. Rob later admitted that in his effort to keep everything flawless, he slowly lost himself. Between directing, writing, and managing the relentless pull of fame, he focused on holding the structure together while Michelle quietly retreated into her own inner world. The closeness they once shared didn't vanish overnight. It eroded gradually, piece by piece. Silence wasn't peace. It was weight, accumulating until it demanded a reckoning. The strain wasn't limited to their marriage. Their son Nick's struggles became fault lines, widening beneath their feet and unsettling everything they believed was solid. Small worries turned into sleepless nights. Simple requests grew into constant tension neither parent could escape. And through it all, the most painful truth remained. They couldn't stop loving him. That love, fierce and unwavering, became both refuge and burden. Before the strain, before the quiet battles, there had been a spark. Rob Reiner met Michelle Singer on the set of When Harry Met Sally, and the connection was immediate. Rob was emerging from a difficult chapter, quietly rebuilding himself, when he encountered someone grounded, creative, and alive in a way he hadn't known before. It wasn't merely attraction. Michelle brought him a sense of calm and purpose that existed beyond fame. Friends liked to joke that Rob wasn't destined to marry a celebrity, he was destined to marry Michelle Singer. And somehow they were right. That bond reshaped not only his personal life, but his creative voice as well. The film's original ending had been bleak, mirroring Rob's own heartbreak at the time. After meeting Michelle, he rewrote it, transforming despair into hope. Not long after, they married in Hawaii, an unplanned, intimate ceremony witnessed by only two strangers. No cameras, no spectacle, just the quiet beginning of something real. Rob often said Michelle centered him, gave him balance, and offered fulfillment fame never could. Together, they raised 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Roy, creating a home built on warmth and structure. His relaxed nature balanced her discipline, and for years it worked. But even the strongest marriages develop cracks quietly, often unseen until it's too late. As their children grew, the picture-perfect family began to fray. Nick, once the brightest presence in the room, slowly changed. At first it was small money requests, excuses, late nights. Over time those shifts escalated. The household that once thrived on laughter and love became unpredictable. Tense and fragile, Rob's instinct was always rooted in protection. He gave chances freely, forgave quickly, and worked tirelessly to shield his son from consequences. Michelle, however, recognized the danger far earlier. She pushed for boundaries, responsibility, and firm limits, understanding that without them, the family could unravel. Their differences never erupted loudly, but they pulled the household in opposite directions, each guided by love, each convinced they were right. One night, the strain finally crossed a line. Nick's anger turned physical, and Rob stared at his son with a realization no parent is prepared to face. Later, he would whisper that he no longer recognized the child in front of him, only a stranger wearing his face. Overwhelmed by fear and heartbreak, Rob didn't call for help. Not from ignorance, but from terror that one wrong step could permanently destroy the child he loved most. Gradually, the love that had once held the family together became a trap. Every act of protection blurred boundaries further. Every attempt to care carried unseen consequences. The home that once felt safe grew tight and heavy, filled with tension that never spoke aloud. To the outside world, everything still looked calm. Inside, it was slowly breaking apart. Rob and Michelle rarely argued openly, yet the strain was constant. Whispers replaced discussions. Silence stood in for resolution. Each compromise, each avoided confrontation, added to a rising flood they could no longer contain. Rob continued protecting Nick even as it became clear that protection was causing harm rather than healing. Michelle pushed harder for honesty and accountability, while Rob's fear of losing his son kept him frozen. They realized too late that love can serve as both shield and cage. The house that once held laughter became quiet, polished, and emotionally empty, tension lingering like smoke no one else could see. Divorce was discussed in hushed tones. Bags packed and unpacked, hope rising and collapsing in endless cycles. Still, Rob never stopped loving his family. That love became both his anchor and his confinement. Silence took over, and the more they relied on it for safety, the more control it gained. Everything the family had tried to protect collapsed on December 14th, 2025. The silence that once felt protective became the force that shattered their world. In the home filled with memories, tragedy struck, and the family admired by so many vanished in an instant. Nick, the son Rob had spent years shielding, became the center of unimaginable heartbreak. No one beyond their walls could truly grasp what had happened. The world watched in stunned disbelief, struggling to reconcile the image of Hollywood's ideal family with the nightmare unfolding behind closed doors. In hindsight, Rob's final CBS interview had quietly revealed the fractures no one noticed at the time. He wasn't there to promote a project or celebrate a career milestone. He spoke as a weary father, sharing truths he had carried alone for decades. Every sentence now felt hauntingly prophetic. "I was afraid of losing my child," he said softly, admitting that the fear meant to protect had become a weight he could no longer carry. News coverage moved fast, but headlines couldn't capture the gravity of that night. Fame, success, and admiration dissolved instantly in the face of raw, irreversible loss. What began as unspoken strain became a devastating reality, as the family they fought to preserve was slowly undone by love without limits and silence without honesty. Michelle Singer was far more than Rob Reiner's wife. She was a force in her own right, shaped by resilience, truth, and unshakable resolve. Raised in New York City by a mother who survived unimaginable hardship during World War II, Michelle learned early that silence could be dangerous. Speaking the truth wasn't optional, it was a responsibility. That belief became central to who she was. She studied photography at the School of Visual Arts, using her lens to reveal what others overlooked. Her work focused on authenticity, not image, capturing people as they were rather than how they wished to appear. By the mid-1980s, major publications recognized her talent, drawn to her refusal to soften reality. Her work was never about recognition but about meaning. When Michelle met Rob, her presence reshaped his world. She grounded him, challenged him, and inspired him deeply, even influencing the hopeful ending of When Harry Met Sally. Together, they built a partnership rooted not in celebrity, but in shared purpose and creativity. Michelle's impact extended far beyond their home. She co-founded Reiner Light, held leadership roles at Castle Rock Entertainment, and devoted herself to causes centered on justice, equality, and truth, from marriage equality to the Innocence Project, living fully by the values she believed in. Fully devoted to the causes she believed in, Michelle lived with purpose and conviction. Rob often called her his true north, the one who kept him grounded when fame threatened to pull him off course. Her life was a testament to fearlessness, compassion, and an unrelenting commitment to truth. Even during the darkest moments of their family's struggle, Michelle's integrity never wavered. And the Reiner story did not end with tragedy alone. It became a mirror for the world, reflecting how even the strongest love can falter when silence replaces communication, and protection quietly turns into enabling. Rob and Michelle's lives remind us that appearances can deceive, and that the perfect family photo rarely tells the full story. Michelle's legacy lives on through her photography, her activism, and the lessons she left behind. Her final body of work, Through Silence, captures resilience, love, and the hidden struggles so many families face behind closed doors. Each image serves as a quiet reminder that truth, no matter how painful, is essential. Rob's final interview, once just a conversation, now reads like a message left behind. Love fiercely, but speak openly. Protect, but set boundaries. Don't wait until it's too late to confront the cracks in the foundations you hold dear. This story isn't just about fame or heartbreak, it's about the cost of silence, the danger of unconditional love without limits, and the courage it takes to be honest when it matters most. Their children, Jake and Roy, are quietly rebuilding their lives, carrying forward the values their parents instilled: honesty, creativity, and compassion, not as a burden, but as a guiding light. And while the world remains shaken by this tragedy, it continues to learn from their story that real love is imperfect, that family is fragile, and that speaking the truth can save what silence almost destroys. Rob and Michelle's journey is more than a Hollywood narrative. It is a timeless lesson, a warning, and a guide. True love doesn't mean perfection. It means courage, honesty, and facing hard truths before silence takes over. Every family has a story. Every home has cracks. Every silence carries weight. If this story made you pause, reflect, or see your own life differently, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe silence can quietly destroy even the strongest love? Your voice matters, and this conversation doesn't end here.